There's a particular kind of poverty that has nothing to do with money. It's the poverty of forgetting who you are, or overlooking what you carry, of searching outwards for something that has always been internal. Tonight's question is quiet but powerful. What forgotten treasure lies within your spirit? Join me now in and through the Static Seance.
Voices trapped in the wires. Their confessions dissolving into static. A seance not in candlelit rooms, but on flickering screens, where the ghosts don't knock, but distort the signal. Shadows coil in the white noise. If only one dares to alter their own frequency, and listen.
Foras in older grimoires is described as the keeper of hidden riches, of wisdom, eloquence, and knowledge of herbs and stones. But symbolically, Foras represents something deeper, wealth that was never missing, only buried. Somewhere you undervalue yourself, not because you are worthless, because you are measuring yourself against the wrong scale. In the past, what gift was buried? Think about that carefully. Not what talent you didn't have, not what opportunity you missed. What gift did you bury? There's a difference because some gifts are taken from us. Others we hide. Sometimes because we're mocked, because we're misunderstood, because we didn't know how to protect what was at that point still fragile. There are seasons in life where survival becomes the priority. And in survival mode, certain parts of you go dormant. Creativity quiets. Confidence retracts. Vision narrows. It's not because they are gone, but because they just have to wait. And Foras governs that waiting. The treasure underground. The inheritance you forgot you possess. For me, it struck immediate. What forgotten treasure lies in my spirit? Not a specific skill or a single talent. It's conviction. The conviction to keep growing as long as I am alive. To never be in stasis. To always be willing to change. There were periods in my life where everything external shifted. Stability dissolved, plans collapsed, where my identity felt unstable. And in those periods, it would have been easy for me to freeze up, become rigid, to let disappointment harden into cynicism, and let loss become permanence. But something inside refused to stay still. Even when I was exhausted, even when I was discouraged, even when I questioned everything, there was this internal insistence. Keep growing. Keep adapting. Keep refining. That is the treasure to me. For a while, I didn't recognize it as wealth. I thought wealth was clarity or mastery or some sort of arrival. But my wealth is my mobility of spirit, that willingness to evolve, refusal to freeze, that conviction that I will never stop becoming. That's the hidden resource that has saved me more than once. In the present, what value resurfaces? Sometimes the buried gift returns quietly, not as a dramatic revelation, but as a subtle remembering. You start to notice that you respond differently to scenarios that once crushed you. You notice that you recover faster, and that your perspective is widened. And that recognition awakens capability. The moment that you remember what you carry, you begin to access it intentionally. Foras teaches that what you seek is internal. You can spend years chasing validation, chasing opportunity, chasing affirmation. And then one day you realize the most valuable thing you own is your capacity to transform. No one can take that from you. Circumstances can shift, relationships can end, resources can disappear, but the ability to grow, that compounds endlessly. Inner wealth compounds endlessly. That's wisdom in the shadows, because external wealth fluctuates, reputation fluctuates, energy fluctuates. But if you're committed to growth, if you're committed to reassessing yourself, refining yourself, correcting yourself, you are never truly impoverished. You are always becoming your own inheritance. And that's destiny in this work. You become your own inheritance. Not your past, not your trauma, not your mistakes, but your adaptability, your awareness, and your resilience. There's something deeply stabilizing about that realization, because it removes desperation. You stop asking, what if I lose everything? And you start understanding that even if I lost everything, I'd still have myself. And if I still have myself, and I'm still willing to grow, I can rebuild. And that's treasure and an invaluable resource. So how about the future? What resource saves you? It won't always be money. It won't always be a person. It won't always be timing. A lot of the time, what saves you is perspective. Sometimes it's humility. Sometimes it's courage to pivot. Sometimes it's the discipline to admit that you're wrong or that you were wrong. For me, the resource that continually saves me is my conviction to evolve. Never to cling to an outdated version of myself that at one point was monumental, but, I have to let it go to grow. There were times in my past that I felt like I had clarity that was absolute, insights that felt final, beliefs that felt unshakable. And at that time, they were real. They were powerful. They were necessary. But being human means that clarity evolves. If I had held to those revelations that I thought were complete clarity, I would have stagnated so definitively. Growth requires reappraisal. It requires humility. It requires admitting that yesterday's understanding might not be sufficient for today's complexity. And that's uncomfortable because it feels safer than adaptation. But stagnation is the real danger. Stasis is spiritual decay. Foras asks you to remember that your worth is not earned. It is remembered. You do not become valuable by accumulating achievements. You become effective by recognizing what you already contain. So the buried gift in you might be resilience. It might be empathy. It might be discipline. Or creativity. Or discernment. Or it might be something more simpler, more powerful. A refusal to quit on your own evolution. If you have that, you have wealth. If you have that, you have resource. If you have that, you have inheritance. Now think about your past. When were you closest to giving up on yourself? When were you tempted to freeze? To become rigid? To say, this is who I am now? And what prevented that? What stirred inside you? That stirring is the treasure. It may not look glamorous. It may not impress everyone or anyone, but it sustains you. Foras teaches that hidden riches are often misidentified. We look for gold and overlook endurance. We look for applause and overlook adaptability. We look for external validation and overlook internal alignment. Transformation here is subtle. Recognition awakens capability. The moment you say, I carry this, you begin to use it consciously. Instead of stumbling into growth through crisis, you choose growth proactively. Instead of waiting for collapse to force evolution, you initiate it. Instead of fearing change, you lean toward it. That shift is profound because you are not reacting to life. You are participating in it, shaping it. You are allowing yourself to remain fluid. There is something sacred about refusing to calcify. especially in a world that rewards fixed identities. People want you predictable. They want you consistent in ways that make them comfortable. But growth, it disrupts comfort. And sometimes the treasure in your spirit is exactly that disruption. The ability to say, I have changed, without apology, without shame, without self-betrayal. What forgotten treasure lies within your spirit? Is it courage you once dismissed? Is it intelligence you downplayed? Is it compassion you considered weakness? Is it ambition that you buried because it felt too dangerous? Or is it simply this, the unwavering decision to remain in motion? You are alive. And as long as you are alive, you are not finished. That is wealth. That is potential. That is resource. You do not have to earn your worth. You have to remember it. And once you remember it, you must invest in it. Invest in your adaptability. Invest in your self-awareness. Invest in your willingness to evolve. Because inner wealth compounds. Every lesson absorbed, it becomes future discernment. Every mistake examined becomes future wisdom. Every correction implemented becomes future stability. You are not static. You are not fixed. You are not complete, and that is not a flaw. That is treasure. Foras does not hand you gold. He hands you a mirror. And in that mirror, you see what you carry. You see that the thing that you thought was ordinary is actually rare. You see that the thing that you thought was small has actually sustained you through collapse. You see that your ability to keep growing is not common. Many people freeze. Many people harden. Many people decide that they are done evolving long before they are done living. But if you refuse that, remain teachable, if you remain flexible, if you remain willing to reassess, then you will never truly be bankrupt. You will always have a way forward. That is the forgotten treasure. That's that inner resource. And that is an inheritance that cannot be confiscated. And as long as I am alive, I will keep growing. That is my vow. Not perfection, not certainty. Growth. Movement, reappraisal, adaptation. And that conviction, more than anything external, is the wealth that carries me. What about you? What have you buried? What is resurfacing now? What resource inside of you will one day save your life? Remember it. Claim it. Invest it. Because what you seek has always been with you. And inner wealth, once recognized, never truly runs out.
I envy the tide, the twinkling ocean gleam. That magic that once held my life together, no longer just a kiss of decent weather. She carousels, she stops the swells from sweeping me away. Though if I have to die, grant me just one